I'm Ting. Nice to meet you. I am attempting to film a BJD Tag video that was constructed by the BJD Resinate podcast folks. I'm making an effort in 2021 to actually get in front of the camera to try to say something, so this is going to be my first attempt. So I guess I will jump right into it. First question, which doll company resonates with you the most? So I am about a year and a half into the hobby, and if I judge by the number of dolls that I have 3 in Fairyland and 3 in Ipple House, and I would say they resonate with me in different aspects. Like I really like the SD size and the realism of Ipple House, and then for Fairyland, I mostly like them for their small fantasy sculpt. So I have 2 Fairyland dolls. One is a Pookie and one is a Pookie, I think? No, real Pookie, sorry, which is tinier. Anyway, that is right now who resonates with me. Question 2, favorite BJD size. So I would say that I mostly collect those 2 SD or tinies, and I view tinies as kind of like desk companions. I am hoping to have like half a dozen of them just kind of roaming around doing weird things on my desk so that I can play with them throughout the day. And then for my primary collection, which I would like to build dioramas and sew clothes and lavish more attention towards, that would be my SD or larger dolls. Question 3, favorite resin color. My favorite color is the peach gold by Ipple House, which I have my Aria here, and it's just a really lovely peachy color. I think it's mellowed quite a bit. She's, I guess, almost a year, well, not quite a year, but like 10 months old at this point. And when she first came, she was a much brighter. The red undertones were a lot stronger, but over time she's mellowed out to this nice like skin color that I've liked to take pictures with, and it's quite a big stark contrast against the Pookie that I have right here, which is in natural skin color. I don't know if it shows very well on camera, but this one's much paler, and I don't know. I find myself, when I want to take pictures, I really like how this one comes up on camera, the peach gold in the Ipple House sculpts. What is your favorite thing to do with your BJDs? Well, mostly I like to sew for them. That's my primary hobby. So I did make this dress for my Pookie Fee. I kind of finished it. It has this little, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've only started sewing a month before I actually started collecting BJD, so I'm a little bit like a month ahead in terms of sewing in that hobby. But yeah, I've also made this dress for my Fairyland F65 body, which is, excuse me, very pretty body, but like this dress, it's nice and flowy. Made it at the end of last year, almost beginning of this year, mainly because I wanted it to be spring already. And then I'll bring back my Aria doll, which I also made this top and this asymmetrical skirt. This top was inspired by one that Sartoria J made, and I liked it a lot, and I made my own version of it. I also bought one of them, but I bought it after I had already made this one. So there are some differences. Of course, their fabric I think is a lot nicer, but mine was just a bit of an homage, but everyone needs a good camisole tank top type deal. And then asymmetrical skirts, I'm a huge sucker for. My wedding dress actually has a high-low hem, and well, you can rotate the skirt around and it can change that up. All right. Question 5. What doesn't resonate with you? Your least favorite thing about the hobby? I think the limitedness of everything. I haven't been a big collector before, so this is my first time collecting things. And the fact that you're either bound by time to order, or there's a limited number of a particular sculpt. Like, I know that I learned about the Zoom Idealian or whatever, and that was kind of my first foray into large male dolls, and I saw that the quantities were like so limited, like 10, and I'm like, how does one actually score one of these dolls? So there's a huge FOMO aspect of this hobby that I'm not a huge fan of. I tend to be a long and deliberate person, so that aspect of it doesn't resonate with me very much. So, question 6. What more would you like to see in the hobby? I guess less polish maybe is the biggest thing that I would like to see, because I am learning. I'm new in the hobby, relatively speaking, right? And a lot of the people that I follow on Instagram or that I see on videos, they tend to be super polished and like have been in the hobby for years, and it's a little daunting. I know it's stuff to aspire to, but I'd like to see more average person, I guess is kind of the way that I would say it, or moldo person. I'm sure the best phrasing for this, but like that's part of the reason why I started my channel, is just because I wanted to document the things that I'm doing, and I'm not polished in very many ways, and it's just me learning a lot. And while I respect those that are, experts at their craft and are able to actually make money in this hobby by being able to sell their services or their goods, I'd like to see and maybe befriend some people who are more in the work in progress state, because that's where I am. And, when you're in similar stages of life, you can relate a lot more. All right, next question. What scared you most about coming into this hobby? So a couple of things. I think when I started researching this hobby, there's a lot of elitism that I was concerned about, because I've read about some of the drama that people had about, oh, I don't like so-and-so because their doll is ugly or whatever. And it's like, how do you call someone's doll ugly? Like, things like that. It's just, I was a little afraid of. And then I wasn't so much afraid of recast, because I read about the topic quite a bit before I made my first purchase. And but that, I think, was a concern of mine. And then the next was like a cost thing. It's just like when I first started researching the ball jointed doll hobby, I was just like, how is this doll like $300, which is, to me at that time, really expensive to drop for a doll. And for many it still is, but I look at the average cost of my dolls. They are, I think, or how much I've invested in them when you count clothes and wigs and eyes and all that, they're like almost $800 a piece for the larger ones. Not so much for the small ones, but all my Essie dolls, I think that they're pretty up there. So it's a substantial cost. So that's a bit scary. But, it's okay. I trust people to make decisions about their own finances, and if they feel that they can afford it, then they should go for it. If they can't, then they will make trade-offs as they need to. All right, next question. How have your tastes in the hobbies changed over time? What resonates now? So I'll say I learned about the hobby through a coworker of mine, and at the time I was sewing for my daughter's welly wishers, so like the 14-inch American Girl doll line, and they have very much like child aesthetics, and that's how I dipped my toe into the BJD hobby. Actually, when I first started researching, I was very kind of put off by how realistic some of the sculpts were, and I'm like, I don't know, why would anyone want to own that? And so that's why my first two dolls were more in that proportion. My first doll was a Mayu Matcha Big Baby, and it was just slightly larger and nearly the same measurements as my daughter's Woylie Wisher. So some of the clothes and patterns that I had started developing and using, I could scale slightly for that size without much changing. So that's how I started. And then I got my second doll was the Pookie Fee, which is similar. It's like very straight sides and no curves type of doll. And that's where I started. And then I think over time I thought, it'd be nice to make clothes for a more mature doll, because some styles work really well on those dolls that don't work on the more childlike dolls. Like if I wanted to make a high slit dress or something that's more low cut, I feel very weird doing that for a doll that's supposed to be 3 to 5 years of age. So after doing some research, I decided to get my first Ipple House doll, and since then, and I really actually liked the SD size. Why does the hobby resonate with you? What do you like the most? So I think I covered this a little bit in my year-end video, but what I really like about the hobby is that it lets you explore miniature versions of all the other hobbies that are available. If I wanted to become like a shoemaker, I could learn how to do that. If I wanted to be a furniture builder, maybe I could learn about that. I don't know. I think the fact that my day job is an analyst and I do a lot of number crunching and a lot of things that are more in the non-creative and art space, that this is my outlet for when I'm able to express things. And I think it dovetails well, because sewing, there is an art and then there's a science to it. And to be able to sew clothing really well, you have to be able to nail down the science aspect of it, of like understanding how seams work and these techniques and technical aspects of things. But then there's the art aspect of it, where you can design things in certain ways so that they have a certain feel and flair. And those are the parts of the hobby that I really enjoy. Do you have an end goal in mind for your crew? Will your collection ever feel complete, or is it always an ongoing project? I'd like to think that there is a end state. I think that I will run out of space likely before I feel that they're complete. I'm trying not to get any more dolls this year, but every time I give myself kind of a moratorium, I never end up following through and I end up buying more things. So I don't really have an end goal, because I don't have specific characters in mind of a story that I'm trying to fill out. They're just kind of, what dolls do I think look pretty? How do I construct sort of relationships between them? I oftentimes have bought a doll without first planning out what their role would be, and it's not like I have to have a strong bond with them, with this character, but they do represent different slivers of my life, so to speak. Like Aria, my character, her name is Winry, but she is a chef, so I've started making a chef coat for her. And then I got an Ipple House Yui also, and she became her older sister. I am the oldest in a sister, so it's a different aspect of me. And then my first male doll was also an Ipple House doll, an Ipple House Dean, and he represents my husband. I styled him after him in his early 20s. He doesn't look like that now, but I'm trying to play with different hairstyles to see if I can still capture the same vibe. Anyway, I think I went through all the questions. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a ramble and enjoyable for someone. If you haven't listened to the Resinate podcast, I really like the topics that they cover, and then I joined their Discord and really enjoy actually talking to the individuals themselves in the Discord channel. So if you want to try out this tag, please feel free. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hope you have a lovely week. Bye.